Welcome to Geek Reformation's The Brackets. I am Jacob Willoughby.
And I'm Jacob Lennart.
And we are here with our Disney Dude Bracket, tackling the episode that pits Li Shang.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
Whom you just heard against Hercules.
I am ready. I want to get off this island. I want to battle some monsters. Rescue some damsels. You know, heroic stuff.
Does he have a musical number?
Yes, he does.
He does? Oh, that's right. Okay. It's been a while since I've seen Hercules.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's like he wants to go the distance.
That's right, yeah. We are joined today by Rachel. Rachel.
Hello.
Okay. Just as a recap of the rules of how this works, both competitors will be playing on a Final Destination type stage that is relatively balanced as far as adding any kind of environmental factors. So there aren't any trees to jump in and hide in. There aren't any caves to go into. There's no water. There's nothing like that, though you can fall off to your death. Okay, does anyone have any thoughts before we begin introducing our characters?
About the bracket or Final Destination?
Right.
Oh, then no.
Okay. All right, in this corner, we have Li Shang. Now, he is a general in the Chinese army, correct? Okay. Now, what equipment do we think that Li Shang has going into this? I would assume he would have his sword.
Probably sword, armor.
Have his armor.
I don't remember, does he...
He has a bow staff.
He has a bow staff. I was going to say that.
He has a bow staff, and he has people that throw... no, he doesn't. I thought people threw the pots at him, but he doesn't. He kicks the pots up in the air. And
I was about to say, does he have an entourage?
Does
Does he get that on Final Destination? There's Hercules, Li Shang, and the posse.
Yeah, there's going to be, as Hercules charges, people are throwing
Pots
pottery.
at him.
Okay, so Li Shang has his armor and his sword. Do we think he has his bow staff?
I mean, why not?
I mean,
Can he have more than like two weapons, like a sword and a staff?
Technically, the sword's got a sheath, so the argument can be made the sword's in the sheath and he's just carrying the bow staff.
right.
Sure.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Great.
Now, on the Hercules side, I would assume that he has his standard armor and his sword. Does he have Pegasus?
No. No, he doesn't. He doesn't need a horse that can fly when he's just fighting another person.
Technically, though, the horse that can fly is also a secondary character.
True.
Secondary.
Whoa! She's like,
Yeah.
yeah, Pegasus is a secondary character. He's not the protagonist.
I mean,
Movie's not about Pegasus.
he's great, but I just feel like that makes the fight a little bit uneven.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as equipment, it's... Even though the characters are drastically different, as far as equipment, are you okay? Are you going to be able to control yourself?
Yeah, I've just had a lot of coffee today. It's fine. Okay.
As far as, the characters, they're pretty balanced by that pretty much they both have just armor and sword.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
There's not going to be much else.
And in the words of Hercules, a fighter is only as good as his weapon. Which is not really the case in this, considering Hercules can lift boulders. Well, I mean, having decided what they have, I'm ready to go for a vote on this and just go ahead and wrap it up. Honestly.
A vote? What are we voting?
Yeah, we vote at the very end and say, here's who wins. And that's why we have 3 people.
Well, here's the thing. Essentially, you've got the fact that Hercules is obviously super strong.
Right.
And he's not a bad fighter by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he has been trained to fight, not in a martial arts sense, but...
Yeah, he gets a montage and everything.
Right.
Li Shang, though, he doesn't just know how to fight, he trains other people. I think that's partly the difference. You got the trainee versus the trainer.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got the fact that Li Shang also knows martial arts, which is different than the type of fighting that Hercules normally does. There's not typically a whole lot of thinking or tactics in Hercules.
Martial arts. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that to Jackie Chan when I see him. You know that thing you do? There's not a whole lot of thinking involved.
Yeah, it's just
Why couldn't you have been like, some big buff guy from Greece? That requires a lot of thinking. But I think
that's a good point.
Yeah, that's the difference. Li Shang's going to be more used to, I guess, tactical thinking as opposed to Hercules. I don't want to boil it down to essentially charge and swing a sword, but that's kind of what it is. It's always more of a brute strength thing. Even the villains in Hercules that he fights are the Titans, and they're just pretty much brute strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing with Hercules is that he does go up against an incredibly wide variety of foes. He handles giant lions, giant boars. He takes
The
on
Hydra.
the Hydra at one point and beats it.
Not the Marvel Hydra, because Disney didn't own Marvel yet, so they didn't have those rights.
Right, yeah.
Although that would be interesting. Hercules versus, Hydra run by Red Skull.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally derailed that conversation.
But these are two people who, they're in this squared off area, but I really do think that this is something that Hercules is a little more trained to do, one-on-one combat, as a fighter of tournaments and things, as like a hero, rather than a military general. Not that Li Shang couldn't fight one-on-one, but that's not as much what he's trained to do in the sense that Hercules is trained. Does that make sense at all, or am I just rambling?
Essentially, it's Colosseum fighting is what we have at Final Destination. So that does... It's Colosseum fighting, but it's also not necessarily Colosseum rules. Because in Colosseum fighting, there is, and obviously playing down to more Disney's Colosseum, there are basic rules, but the containment is a bit different. And Hercules and stuff like that, you hit someone out of the stage and, they're still in whatever, or you can just walk out of the building. Here you can't.
Right.
So then that's going to be the interesting part, is you have a certain thing of...
Because you would fall off. You can't. You can't just walk out.
You just can't walk, yeah. Obviously.
The fact that you can fall off a Final Destination was new to our guest, Rachel. And it's kind of freaked her out a little bit that you can fall.
It's a concern, right?
Yeah, it is. I would say it's a concern for both participants, that they could fall off.
We'll have to put a little disclaimer now at the beginning. Instead of when they drop the characters in and at the 3, 2, 1, we have a little disclaimer. Careful, you can fall. And then go!
You may fall. Fight!
But I guess the thing is, it is set up like a Colosseum, but it's not the rules or the structure of a Colosseum battle.
Right.
In a way.
That makes sense.
And so I think in that situation, and when you do have something like on the battlefield, military tactics are great, but as soon as both armies engage each other, it's almost kind of a free-for-all in a way. And I think that might lend itself more to Li Shang in this instance, because you've essentially got this flat area terrain similar to a battlefield where all you know is there's the guy I've got to go beat. That's the military war mindset, not necessarily a Colosseum mindset.
And that's something that we forgot to mention in the introductory rules, is that both of these participants are fully aware that their job is to KO the other person.
Yeah.
So they're not there goofing around. They know that that's exactly what they're there to do.
So they'd just be getting down to business.
Exactly.
And you have to look at you're looking at the Colosseum fighting, but you're also looking at the style of opponent, because you do have Hercules, who has, as we see in the movie, has progressed in his abilities and in training, but still it's very his fighting style is very reactive and not very responsive. Li Shang, not only he does have a little bit more of a strategic mindset because of his military background. His dad was military, he's grown up thinking like this. So that's a skill that he has. But also, when you have martial arts in the mix, then it completely changes the game, because yes, brute strength is important and it's good, and it can put martial artist people at a little bit of more of a challenge, I guess. But I've personally done martial arts, and martial arts is made for small people, actually. so it's more about technique and timing than anything. So when Hercules comes in rushing, like that's exactly who somebody, like if I'm on the street, some guy is going to come up and he's going to rush me, and he's probably going to be bigger than me because that's like not that hard to do. And so when like martial arts is made for like the defense of that, so if they're like fighting, especially like hand to hand, if Li Shang has an opportunity and Hercules is going to go swinging and big motions, Li Shang can get in there fast because he's a little bit smaller. He's also more flexible, but also just using the basic techniques of karate and martial arts in general, he can flip Hercules.
That's another thing.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
That's something I didn't think. Is like, you have Hercules being, super strong, stuff like that. To my knowledge, he's not necessarily like super impenetrable by weaponry of any sort that I know of. So I don't think there's anything that I can think of from the movies to indicate that a sword doesn't hurt Hercules as much as it would hurt Li Shang.
I'm trying to remember. I mean, there are times when Hercules gets walloped. He gets walloped. Like when he's fighting the centaur, doesn't he get thrown across?
Yep.
And slammed into a rock and just kind of, he brushes it off in a few seconds and keeps going.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was a question I had when I was thinking about this is, can Li Shang effectively damage him enough? And how many times would Hercules have to hit him before it's over? Because if Hercules can punch somebody and send him flying...
I would say in this case, with Hercules, it would be more like kind of a one-hit knockout, given the fact that Hercules, obviously is super strong. And when he's punching, essentially he's fighting the Titans and stuff like that and punching them a couple times and it's hurting them. You gotta think, okay, one punch from a Hercules that's hurting a Titan would probably be enough to incapacitate, maybe not kill, a regular human being.
I mean, there's that, but big guys also wear out a lot faster. So, and Hercules uses a lot of energy. Granted, he has a lot of energy, but I think Li Shang he has a good chance for endurance, hanging into that, I guess, hanging on to that.
That's kind of going back to what you're saying about martial arts. That I was kind of thinking on this was that some of the things with martial arts, it's a lot of, in a way, avoidance of them actually attacking you and hitting you. And also in a way, it's a lot about using the other person's height and strength to your advantage. So while he may not necessarily be able to take a punch from Hercules, there's the idea that he could essentially, dodge the punch but trip Hercules up. Which, how big and fast Hercules is going, that might be enough to make him fall off. And there she goes again.
No, you're exactly right. Martial arts is like something that is designed to help you conserve energy and use the other person's momentum and body weight, like to your advantage, I guess, is how you would say that. But that's why small people can take out big people because they do that, because they don't really have another option. And this is like hand to hand. So I think Li Shang ultimately has a better chance, probably hand to hand, because Hercules can put so much power behind like his swords and blows, and it's a little harder to dodge a sword, I'm sure, than a fist. But I haven't been in that situation, so maybe that's a guess.
I was trying to figure out what exact precise form of martial arts Li Shang knows, and best I can find is they just have it down as like martial arts or kung fu.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much, I think, all I can
That's
find.
That's pretty legit, though. Kung fu is actually very nasty and very, like, it's not very nice. Like, it's martial arts, but it's very animal-esque, and I guess, is the word decisive? Direct?
There.
I don't know. You're gonna get hurt.
How would you
You're gonna
describe
get
Kung Fu? You're gonna get hurt.
It hurt.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it gets more interesting. Is obviously if Hercules can land, I think, one clear blow on Li Shang, I think that's pretty much it. On the off chance, if Li Shang can essentially avoid that one blow long enough to wear Hercules down or trip him up, then I think Li Shang would have the capability to win. So essentially, that's what I think. It's kind of like a better term. I think it's almost like a Civil War, and I mean American Civil War, not Marvel Civil War situation, in which the South was stronger in the beginning, but they didn't have the ability to keep up a prolonged war, and so that's partly why the North won. So I think that's what we've got here: is Hercules has the initial strength, but he can't keep up for a longer period of time as Li Shang can.
See, I kind of agree with that, and then I kind of don't, because like Hercules is trained as a hero. I mean, he's not someone who's just strong and that's it. But also, Shang has never fought someone of that kind of strength before, or that kind of durability before. So to say that, yeah, absolutely, Shang could go longer than Hercules can, I don't know. I mean,
on the flip side, there's also the idea that Hercules, to my knowledge, has never fought anyone who actually knows martial arts. He's always fought people who are either mythical creatures or who essentially are fighting. Yeah, mythical stuff.
they're just mythical creatures.
I mean,
Yeah.
seeing a Hydra do Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon would be interesting. He's fought people who are fighting under the same terms that he is in the Colosseum.
Right.
So I think that's the thing. It's two different mindsets, two different ways of fighting, and
yeah.
So I guess that's really the question: is does Hercules land the first blow quick enough, or because I don't even think it's necessarily a thing of Hercules getting tired out as much as I think Li Shang could trip him up and take him out that way. But then there's also a question of, does Li Shang know he can do that? And the fact that he doesn't necessarily know that Hercules is this super strong. She's just going to start laughing every time.
That's true.
I mean, is it...
That's true.
I mean, okay, so clarification. Li Shang knows he can fall off.
Yeah, Li Shang knows he
Okay.
can fall off, but like he doesn't know
The best idea.
one blow from Hercules.
Yeah, and I'm
he doesn't know
gone.
that.
Li Shang doesn't know, okay, I need to
Gotcha.
make this guy fall off right
Right.
away. It might not be the first thing that comes to his mind.
I mean, I feel like I would probably think that if I was against him, but I'm not Li Shang. I mean, they see that if they're going for a KO, then they obviously like see the other person as a threat, and
Yeah. I guess my thing is, I realized I say that all the time. I guess
Yeah.
my thing is,
yeah,
I need to get that on a t-shirt. I guess my thing is, I guess my thing is, I refuse to believe that Hercules would go the fight, however long it lasted, and not land a blow. A blow of some kind. Even if you are a martial artist, and the other person is a trained fighter, gonna land something. And when you're talking about someone that can punch centaurs when they go flying, one blow is going to crack ribs. It's going to do. It could propel him off something.
Is the
that
blow
dramatically
though?
changes it.
Is the blow from like a punch though the first reaction? Because like I said, they're both essentially sword fighters initially.
Right.
So obviously Hercules attacking with a sword would have much more strength.
Like,
than Li Shang. Yeah, like
decapitate him.
It would probably break Li Shang's sword or something like that.
I think it would definitely break his sword. I think it could. Go clean through him.
But then I don't know if this is where I wish like Chris or someone was here, someone who knew physics really well. We need science right now.
I wish we had somebody with science who could take a Greek god and put him up against an old Chinese person and see, what would happen.
tell us the
Start to
science of the whole
fight.
entire.
How come science never tells us the things we need to know?
And I mean, this is a physical fight, but it also raises the question of like the mentality that they have when they go in, because they say like the mental battle is like 90% of it. So maybe like,
Are you bringing up Chinese's thing with math?
I don't like math. So no, I'm not bringing it up. But I mean,
Okay.
like Hercules like sees this guy who's smaller than him and doesn't really hasn't ever experienced this before, so he's probably a little overconfident, and especially when that's matched with brute strength, that does not turn out well for that person. But Li Shang also sees him, and in my mind, Hercules is a little bit bigger than Li Shang, just like by how they're pictured. But Li Shang, knowing that he's bigger than him, and I guess his name is Hercules, maybe that has something to do with it. But Li Shang is, it's just like a big name, But but Li Shang is very aware if he's coming from a martial arts sword, a battle trained standpoint, is that you don't go in with that overconfidence, because you will fall if you have that overconfidence.
And that's another idea, is that Hercules, like I said, we did think about them clashing swords. Would that even be Li Shang's first thing? Because, again, going back kind of to the Colosseum idea, it's a show you put on.
Yeah.
Li Shang's going into it with the military mindset, okay, this is a battle I need to win. And typically, actually, in sword battles, you're not supposed to clash swords. It's not good for the metal. So...
What is the point of a sword, then, if you can't,
to kill the other person.
The pointy end in the other guy.
You don't clash the swords together. It dulls the blade and hurts this... Yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay.
I imagine you now in this warfare, and someone hands you a sword, you're like, that's not how it works. Well, then what's the point?
And that's something with Hercules, is he is fully aware of the I have to win this or I'm dead, because he defends cities from monsters and titans. That's not a new concept to him either.
I guess it's the difference though between, I guess, Hercules wanting to win, but with a bit more showmanship involved, versus Li Shang wanting to win in this is a battle for China sort of. I don't know.
I mean, Li Shang is very intense. He is not very merciful.
I remember. I want to point this out about Li Shang.
Yes.
He's probably the most oblivious Disney character in all of the Disney verse. Because this is a guy who had a girl. He was personally training this girl and didn't know she was a woman. There are memes all over the internet showing, how did he not know at this moment? And so he's either the most oblivious character ever, or he's so intensely focused that it makes him oblivious to stuff like that. Either way, I have doubt in his quality.
His quality? I mean, I think it's his focus that kind of, he's just so focused on this. He's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders with it. He's being in charge of, all these group of trainees who, aren't that great either. And then there's this random guy who's, extra strange.
They literally sent him...
We all know that guy that looks like a girl.
They literally sent him a daughter when he asked them for sons.
Oh. But, I mean, maybe Mulan's just super sneaky? But I don't know. I wasn't there.
That's true. Yeah, like I said, I guess my thing is that
Sorry, you did it again. You need a t-shirt.
I do need a t-shirt. No, I don't know how to proceed without saying that.
The thing is, here's
my point. I just don't really see a scenario on, unless they were right at the edge of the map, where when they clash, Hercules doesn't land a blow of some kind. And any kind of blow, if it's an elbow, if it's a leg, if it's a whatever, that could be devastating to someone. Because, even Batman, when he fights somebody and he's incredibly agile, or Captain America, the people get a blow on them. And so, like, when you have someone who is that immensely strong, I mean, it could, if at the very least, it would completely alter everything and hinder Li Shang's entire ability to move.
I can actually see an outcome where Li Shang could, or essentially Li Shang could not take Hercules out, but essentially move him over towards the edge and then get him to fall over. I think that's a possibility. The question, though, is essentially which comes first, because that's the long game versus essentially, you're right, he can't even get hit really once. Because at that point, it's pretty much over.
And I mean, it depends if it's a, like, full force, full contact blow or a glancing blow. And I think with Hercules, either one is going to hurt and really damage Li Shang, because he is going to get hit probably. But if in the first, because like when you are in hand-to-hand combat, it goes really fast and it gets like really reactive. So if Li Shang could, I don't know, I mean, like, one way he could play it is just going in, being the aggressor, being really fast, and just trying to confuse Hercules and just work him towards the edge. And, like, that's, I mean, I don't know, maybe if Hercules, like, picked up on that, or I don't know exactly how that would work, but that would be Li Shang's best bet, is to just go in and get him towards the edge, probably, hand to hand. Probably without his sword. Or his staff, because I think Hercules would probably break his staff.
Yeah, the staff.
Yeah, I think.
But
I
it looks
don't think
cool.
that staff would. This is where he needs that entourage of pottery
Yeah.
poppers.
Pot throwers, yeah.
Yeah.
See, now I'm thinking that when they eventually go in and make a live-action Hercules movie, they need to get, for the character of Zeus, I'm not particularly on a certain actor, but it needs to be an old British guy. Just like Xanadu.
Just like Xanadu. Yes, just like
I don't
Xanadu.
care who, it's got to be an old British guy playing Zeus.
I agree.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
You all talk about this movie all the time.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's kind of terrible.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So where are we at
I don't know.
right now in this discussion?
For me, I think, is it possible for Li Shang to beat Hercules? I think yes.
I think yeah.
Is it probable? I think probably not. I feel like it goes down to one of those like Deadliest Warrior things where it's like, out of 1,000 battles, so and so won.
Well, it almost seems like
whatever.
our conversations keep gearing toward, well, if Li Shang could get him to do this, or if Li Shang could get to the edge, or something like that. It's almost like it's a given that Hercules is the superior here, unless Li Shang can get ABC to happen. So I want to say that you would be correct in that, like, if out of 1,000 battles, certainly Li Shang would win some of those, but it would be...
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be as enough of a percentage to make a big enough difference.
What are...
Unless we want to
Rachel
go with
has a lot of facial expressions right now. What are your...
I mean, yeah, it would be a hard fight, and I think he could win. And
Hercules or Li Shang?
Li Shang. I don't know. I need to collect my thoughts.
We will take a brief commercial interruption while Rachel collects her thoughts.
We have sponsors? Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. I've always wanted sponsors.
I don't know. I think it
No, you're good. By all means, continue. Continue.
I don't know. I just think this is, and I don't want to say I'm like coming from personal experience or whatever, but that's kind of true. When that's how a lot of fights are, though, just in real life, is there's some big guy picking on somebody small. So it's just like, I think Li Shang has a chance, and it's not going to be, it's not like a great chance, but
I'd say probably one of the strongest arguments though for Li Shang would actually be Disney itself. And the fact that Disney constantly has the smaller protagonist, like in a fight, the smaller person typically somehow overcomes a larger person that they shouldn't be able to. So I'd say the Disney trope is actually on Li Shang's side. However, likelihood is on Hercules'
then again,
side.
Disney is a company that makes money, and Hercules is more of a money-making figure than Li Shang is.
Wait. In which market? Overseas or...
okay.
In Venezuela, Leonard. Hercules is much bigger in Venezuela.
Hercules also has a whole gospel choir, like throughout
That's
the
true.
movie.
That's true.
Hero to
Okay,
hero, yeah,
does he
that's true.
get a musical number? That's something we didn't talk about in his things that he gets. Does he get the musician backup playing?
I mean,
Because that would be distracting. If you're
would
sitting
be
there trying to
epic.
fight
It
this
would
guy,
be
and all of a sudden you hear these people singing in the background.
It would be distracting to Li Shang, but it would also, they tend to narrate whatever's happening, so if Hercules just listens, he'll learn how to beat him.
But Li Shang could too, maybe. I don't know.
Li Shang doesn't,
Well,
he's too focused.
Although there's the issue about that Hercules never actually interacts with the narrators
That's
themselves.
true. That's true. He doesn't.
That would be a problem. I'm just wondering, is like, do we have essentially a sort of, choir going on in the background singing?
Does Phoebus show up
No.
with Excalibur?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if Hercules gets music, I think Li Shang should get music. But that gospel choir is legit. I love it. I love it.
How about we compromise? We have the people from Hercules sing "Be a Man" while they're fighting.
Yes!
Gospel style, that'd
Get
be
a gospel
interesting.
choir to sing Be a Man.
I'm down.
Yes, if Geek Reformation gets the time and the motivation, you will find that on iTunes. We will find a gospel choir to record.
I mean, I
Be a
know
Man.
some people who sing in a gospel choir.
That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. That's a game changer.
That is a game
We
changer.
do have backup music, or background music.
So now that we've decided the ambiance, are there any are there any new arguments? Are there any new thoughts?
Okay, so, like, just thinking of, like, the whole stage and setup of the arena again.
Right.
Where are you gonna put them?
Well, hold
Because
it.
they're gonna fall off.
They live on jars.
They're
Rachel.
two-dimensional. They can literally be on the floor.
Okay, floor is good. Floor is good.
Floor's good. They could be on the side of Final Destination.
Oh.
Yeah, they're just spinning around the side of Final Destination singing "Be a Man" while this fight goes on.
That's right.
So then, I think the only thing left to do now, pretty much, unless anyone has something else, is vote.
Is to vote on it? Yeah.
So then, Willoughby, I think, typically you go first. Are you showing her a picture of Final Destination?
This is a picture of Final
Oh,
Destination.
that's scary.
Isn't it though?
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
All right. So Willoughby, I think, typically.
Yeah. I guess my thing is, again, that I don't see a real probable scenario where Hercules doesn't land a blow, and I think when that happens, all of Li Shang's like attributes drop dramatically. His ability to move, his defense, offensive striking power. I mean, if you have a couple cracked ribs, you're hurting at that point. So ultimately, I have to give it to Hercules, to the demigod Hercules. Rachel?
Yeah, I think that's fairly logical that Hercules would come out on top and have that advantage. But I think honestly, if you got if Li Shang got hit, he would probably like just not have any ribs anymore if it was a good hit. I mean,
forget crotch ribs, they're just not
He
there
would just
anymore.
like collapse. Be really short.
yeah, like I think they would just be like completely like I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
I was thinking like if he got a glancing blow, it would probably crack a rib or something. But yeah, I mean, like a direct
I mean,
hit
yeah.
would probably.
Yeah, a good hit should do that. But wait.
So we're basically talking about one hit and Li Shang like collapses from like
I
physically
mean,
collapses.
if it's Hercules and it's a full
Like he
front
deflates.
blow. Yeah, but I also think there's the mentality that Shang has with his focus, or whatever you want to call it.
Focus or obliviousness, however you want to phrase that.
Exactly, and I think that I think the movie was just clear on displaying that for the most part he had that when he was fighting, not necessarily when he was training the other people. But I think that can outweigh a lot of trial that he's facing. So I'm voting for Li Shang because
Dun dun dun.
surprise.
Alrighty, that makes the votes 1-1. Jacob Lenhart has the casting vote. What do you think, Li Shang or Hercules?
I had an idea, then I got a text and I forgot. I think honestly, if this were a Disney movie, Li Shang would win just because Disney, like I said, the whole Disney trope thing. I think you brought this up earlier, Wildy. We kept saying, well, Li Shang could win if this. I think the whole thing of saying could win insinuated that we all kind of thought Hercules was already winning. And so that's the thing is I think Li Shang could very likely win, and there are situations where he could win. I think the probability is more likely that, 6 out of 10 times or 7 out of 10 times, whatever, Hercules would win. So I'm probably going to have to go with Hercules. Rachel does not approve.
Not really, no.
Rachel does not approve at all. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, Lenhart and I are going to our deaths now.
We're gonna get some. We're gonna get on Facebook tomorrow and find like these ranting, raving reviews.
She can join David on his Merlin. On his Merlin.
What we need to do
evil.
then is get her and David back, and they can do.
Oh goodness. Merlin
versus
Darkwing
Li-
Duck versus Li
Yeah,
Shang.
Li-
They can do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, thus ends our Hercules versus Li Shang matchup, with the victory going to Hercules in a 2-1 vote. Li Shang is eliminated, and Hercules will move on to the next round.
Like always, feel free to comment below. Let us know if we forgot anything, didn't consider anything, or if you agree with Rachel, who's giving me a death stare right now.
Maybe.
Or if you want to affirm the fact that we were right, as we most usually are. Good 90, 95, okay, 94.5% of the time.
Yeah.
Also, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Subscribe to our YouTube page. You can share this with friends and family who might be interested. You can spam it to your grandmother who is kind of losing her mind and might watch it a bunch of times. We just need views. So give it to whoever you feel like.
Also, feel free to message us with any questions you have. We love to talk to people, partly because we have the apps on our phones. We get push notifications, and we really have a lot of spare time on our hands.
We have a lot of spare time. Yeah, absolutely. Please feel free to. Rachel, do you have a lot of spare time? Do you want to give people your number or something so that they can contact you? Or
What is spare time again?
spare time?
Thank you, Rachel, for coming on the show. And
You're welcome. This is very interesting, but good discussion.
That's one of the best compliments I've
that's
ever
probably the
received
best
from Rachel.
compliment. Yeah. I think next to the I kind of I'm kind of sort of beginning to like you
I
all.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I mean, I kind of sort of like you all. Yeah.
We're moving up in the world.
Yes, we are. Well, I am Jacob Willoughby.
I am Jacob Lenhart.
And this has been Geek Reformations, The Bracket. Thank you for listening.